Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing great, and I hope you're ready to garden with me today because in today's video, we're going to completely renovate a large section of my friend's front yard. So let's head over to her house and we'll get started. All right, we made it over to my friend's house. She actually only lives a few blocks away from me, and if you haven't already guessed, this is the area that we're going to be working in today. You can see we've got a large area here between the sidewalk and the street. So this area is about 29 feet by 13 feet. You can see it's already been cleared, which is great. You'll also notice the only things left are these two mature crepe myrtle trees, but other than that, we're working with a completely blank canvas. So here's a picture of what the area looked like previously. There were some smaller mangaves in the center with some deep purple wandering tridescantia surrounding them. And then on the border, there were some purple Mexican heather plants. At one point, my friend redid this space, adding some red azaleas, some crotons, along with some Asiatic jasmine ground cover, but those plants never really took off. The jasmine didn't fill in, and the azaleas really struggled in this spot. I think they were getting too much afternoon sun in this location. In any case, we're going to completely renovate this space today. The only requirements that my friend asked for is she wants color, she wants low growing plants, and she wants it to be low maintenance. So that's what I'm going to give her. I picked up an amazing selection of plants that are really going to thrive in this location, and they're going to add some really nice color and texture to my friend's front landscape. So coming over closer to the front porch, you can see I'm using this front walkway as a staging area for all these beautiful plants. In total here, there's 3 different varieties and just over 100 individual plants. Looking at these oyster plants first, right away you'll notice their green sword-shaped leaves with vibrant pops of purple underneath. These are clumping plants that spread slowly and grow up to 18 inches tall and 24 inches wide. They grow in sun to part shade. They're native to Central and North America, and they work well in containers or in ground as a ground cover plant. They bloom periodically with little white flowers throughout the year, and they're hardy in USDA zones 9 through 11, but can be grown as annuals or even house plants in lower zones. The next plant variety we'll be working with today are these variegated Aztec liriope. They've got beautiful white and green strappy leaves that can grow up to 24 inches tall and mound out to 24 inches wide. They like part sun and can tolerate full sun areas too. They get gorgeous lilac purple flowers in late spring and early summer. These plants are hardy in USDA zones 6 through 10, and they can also be grown as annuals in lower zones. And then the last plant variety I picked up for this project are these blue evolvulus ground cover plants. These are a hybrid variety grown by proven winners, and they've got these beautiful blooms. These plants like full sun, and they grow 4 to 8 inches tall and spread up to 16 inches wide. These plants do well planted in ground or in containers used as a spilling plant, and they're hardy in USDA zones 9 through 11, but they can definitely be grown as annuals in lower zones. And then I also wanted to mention I got a great deal on these evolvulus plants at Home Depot. They were $5 each, marked down from about $6.50. I've got 85 plants total, so I had to visit about 4 Home Depots in my area to get them all. But I definitely recommend checking out your local Home Depot because they might be on sale in your area too. So moving on to planting, I'm going to quickly broadcast spread some granular slow-release fertilizer in this space, and then we'll get all these plants placed before planting them in. There we go. The plants have all been placed and the slow release fertilizer has been spread. The fertilizer is really going to help these plants as they settle in after being planted. And then I won't have my friend reapply any fertilizer until early spring. At that point, I recommend fertilizing with a slow release fertilizer once a month during the growing season. So taking a closer look at the plant placement, you can see I've staggered the liriope and oyster plants in the center between the crepe myrtle trees. I've got the liriope down the center, flanked on either side by the oyster plants. Again, these plants have a mounding, clumping growth habit, so over time they're really going to fill this space in. And then around the liriope and oyster plants, I've placed the blue evolvulus ground cover. These plants are spaced out about 18 inches apart, and over time they're going to spread out into a thick blanket of blue blooms. So now the next step in the process is to get everything planted in the ground. All right, so we've got the center area all planted in. I figured it's best to start in the center and then work my way out. The liriope and oyster plants are all good to go, so let's start tackling the evolvulus ground cover around the perimeter. So I'm continuing to make good progress on getting all these plants in the ground. You can see I'm about halfway done, so let me get back to it and we'll get the rest of these evolvulus planted in. All right, we're all done. That was a ton of work. I planted a total of 108 plants, and I'm absolutely loving how this area is coming together. But we're not quite done yet because the next step in the process is mulching. So here's the mulch we're going to use. I've got 30 bags of pine bark mini nuggets. This will completely cover the exposed soil around the plants with about a 2.5-inch layer of mulch. Mulching is a really important step in the process because it'll help with weed suppression as well as moisture retention. So for the mulching process, I'm going to first water all these plants in really well, and then I'll spread the mulch throughout the space to make sure I've locked in that moisture into the soil. So let's get it done. There we go, the mulching is complete. It really finishes off this newly planted area and gives it a really clean look. I also went ahead and watered everything in again and used my leaf blower to clean off the sidewalk, driveway, and street areas. I'm really loving how this turned out. I think it adds really nice curb appeal to my friend's house, and it's going to look even better as these plants fill in. As far as watering goes, this area is hooked up to my friend's irrigation system, and it's currently set to run for 25 minutes twice a week. But my plan is to keep an eye on this area over the next few weeks, and I'll have my friend adjust the watering schedule if needed. When it comes to pest control, I went ahead and spread some Captain Jack's bug and slug killer around the oyster plants. These plants can be susceptible to slug and snail damage, while the other plants are typically more pest resistant. This Captain Jack's product is my favorite product for garden pest control, and I'll definitely be sure to link it in the video description for reference. And then when it comes to weed control, I also shook some pre-emergent herbicide on all the mulch in this garden bed. This is a granular product for use in flower and vegetable gardens. Once the granules come in contact with water, they create a barrier beneath the soil's surface that stops weeds from germinating. I'll also make sure to link this preen product in the video description too. So again, let's take another look at this fully renovated space. I went ahead and watered the preenin off camera to make sure the granules settled into the mulch so they can start suppressing weeds in this area. Overall, I'm absolutely thrilled with how this landscape transformation turned out. It looks so much better than how I imagined it, and I know my friend is going to absolutely love it too. So anyways, it's been a really fun day, completely transforming my friend's front yard space into a beautiful low-maintenance garden area. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hang out with me in future videos. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.